Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerds at Large reaction to Ubisoft Forward.
Not backwards, Jeff. We go forward.
Yeah, we go forward these days. I am Jeff Mayo, and this... Oh, you want to introduce yourself?
No.
Oh,
You.
This is Darby Hallman. He's working on some technical mumbo-jumbo, maybe knocking down a mic or two.
Yeah, might. That, that's how you get them warmed up, You just punch them around.
Make sure they're good. So yeah, we are about 4 minutes away from the start of this. At least according to an IGN article I got pulled up for when we record the podcast right after this. There might be already some announcements that already happened for like the crew and Just Dance, which we are fine with. Yeah. And making some announcement here. We're gonna see some Watch Dogs Legion. Hopefully a release date.
Yeah. At least that's probably the only game that we almost are certain we're seeing that either of us are excited for.
Yeah. Obviously Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be here. We know Far Cry 6 will be here. That leaked in about 100 different ways. The trailer has been out there for about 24 hours. We have not watched it, partly because, we want to save it for this, and because we don't know how much we care. Not really much, but, see whatever Gods and Monsters is turned into. Find out the new name of that, get some more information on that, which would be fun. I always hope for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Not necessarily expecting it, but I can dream.
You're a dreamer, Jeff, and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. It's dreams are all I have. Especially in this time as a Nintendo fan where Paper Mario is the last game they have announced.
Will we see Rainbow Six Quarantine with a new name?
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, speaking of Nintendo, again, not expecting it, but it'd be cool to get another like Mario plus Rabbids 2 or some other Nintendo-related thing.
Sweet.
I don't think what else actually happened. And that's a new Rayman, damn it. Oh, Brawlhalla. I always forget that's a game. I occasionally see they add some wacky crossover thing to Brawlhalla, but that's about it. Then I go on forgetting it exists.
I was gonna interrogate him.
They just showed a little clip of Brawlhalla. That's a game I continually forget exists. Until they show some crazy crossover thing, I'm like, oh yeah, this exists.
I have gotten quite a few crossovers in that game, haven't I? Yeah, I really have very few expectations for this, obviously. Very few Ubisoft games I care about, so I'm going to have very low expectations, but hopefully there'll be some surprise that gets me or something. And like Mario plus Rabbids is something I want to play eventually.
So good.
Could see For Honor too.
Yeah.
For a surprise announcement, I think that could happen.
Problem is, Darby, surprise announcements don't happen with Ubisoft because everything freaking leaks.
That's very true.
Like I continually think what it would have been like if we had no idea Mario plus Rabbids was happening, like until that announcement.
I'm gonna go get water. I have a minute.
There's no one too close, so.
Whoop, whoop. I'm good. I'm so... Listeners, you want anything? They want a White Claw. I have no idea what game they're showing on now. Probably some Rainbow Six junk. Guitar Hero? Ubisoft likes to announce, we bought Guitar Hero.
Surprise! Ubisoft bought WB.
Where
did they get all that money?
Spread the joy and submit them on the link displayed on your screen.
Hey, that means we got a Batman
All right,
announcement here.
guys,
That'd be
it is
hype.
time for us to wrap up this pre-show.
Don't forget to stay tuned for our post-show featuring a deep dive into the world of Assassin's
When
Creed
are they gonna
Valhalla.
let
Thanks
Use
a lot for watching
Gilmont
this
star
pre-show
in the
and
game?
enjoy Ubisoft Forward.
Wait, he wasn't one of the ones that had something come out about him, was he? Mature games? Darby, what are we doing? Come stream.
This is Ubisoft Forward.
This.
Explore our world.
Meet the devs.
see the games.
Really hoping that this is like a tight hour or most hour and a half. Really don't want a 2-hour crazy thing.
Hi everyone, I'm Neelam Kumar and I'm very excited to be co-hosting the first Ubisoft Forward with the talented Yusuf Mageed. Today's show is all about getting up close and in-depth with all the exciting games we have in production here at Ubisoft.
I'm Yusuf, but there's no time to waste. So let's head straight for the streets of futuristic London and see
you
what
go.
the hackers of Dead
Right
City are
away.
getting into.
Right off the bat.
The illegal paintings spreading subversive and hostile messaging over the last few weeks across London are not the work of several people as was originally believed, but the work of an individual. The criminal suspected to have links with the terrorist group Delta is marked as prevented dangerous. Authorities recommend not to approach the individual.
First, they came for the foreigners, and I did not speak out because I was not a foreigner.
Is this gonna be
They came for the protesters,
okay?
and I did not speak
So
out.
these people, when they first announced this game before, they were like, "Oh, it's not political," even though it obviously is. And now they're using the first they came for like the Holocaust lines. Like, all right, y'all.
Then they came for the journalists, and I did not speak out
Not political.
because I was not
Yeah,
a journalist.
bite me. It is political. That's fine, but
And then they came for street artists, but I did not speak out because I am not a street artist.
Now, if I can't do this in game, what's the point? That's all I'm saying. I know if you can or not.
I hope it's not just gonna be a cinematic trailer.
And I realised that eventually they'd come for me, and there would be no one left to speak for me.
Where are we off to, sir?
I'll show you the way!
Okay, sorry, miss. Jesus! All right, so we're in a total mess now, so let's get the hell out of here.
Let's get the hell out of here.
And there's nothing more debilitating than that. This way, not to be able to do what you're passionate about.
After a long night, London is in chaos. The main arteries through the city are blocked. Hundreds of heavily armed Albion.
Well. Welcome to the Resistance. There's a welcome gift for our new members.
But the disappearance of the criminal
You could have told me it was a bloody costume party.
has been raised.
Try it on.
The new key suspect has been identified as David Ford, a 43-year-old London taxi driver. He has no criminal record, but is currently believed to be a terrorist. People have been asked not to approach him. The authorities advise all residents.
I'm Clint Hawking.
Okay, cool.
Clint has been a long-time creative force
Not a
here at
political
Ubisoft, and
game,
now
Jeff.
he's bringing
No,
this
not
in.
not political.
Not at all.
Those
So
are
yeah,
ridiculous.
what
Like
we
the
saw
style of that
was
thing.
an amazing
Yeah.
short film by the director Alberto Mielgo. that was inspired by Watch Dogs Legion and looks at the game and the universe and the characters through his incredible artistic vision and visual style.
The city needs a resistance.
Like the film, Watch Dogs Legion tells the story of ordinary heroes setting aside their differences in order to come together as a collective and to fight for a positive change. You can literally recruit and play anyone who you see in the open world. You profile people that are interesting to you, you help them with their problem, you play their origin mission.
Just help me get some closure and I'll do whatever you want.
Sounds like a DedSec problem. Leave it to us.
And that's how you recruit them into your team. And then they become the heroes of the game and the stars of your story.
And what are you doing in my flat? You with Albion?
Please, think more underground.
You with Albion?
I'm tickled, but think more underground.
Yes.
What, DedSec? Yeah, right, and I'm Che Guevara. You're done.
And they make the story not only, unique to them, but unique to you as the player and personal to you because they're, heroes that you've chosen and invested in. What would I say to fans? I guess I'd say, take care of yourselves, stay safe. Welcome to the Resistance.
Still just so interested to see if that concept stays fun. And, it's a really cool concept on paper, but it sounds very hard to pull off.
History and prosperity. Only took 12,000 years to build it up, and one night.
At least we're getting some impressions today. I know, that we don't wait to impression for a whole game, but at least get some idea. Better idea how it works.
It's one of those games that I'm not going to know until people have actually played the game. I'm never going to be able to completely trust these.
With London under attack by a mysterious terrorist, the government turns to a private military company called Albion to keep everyone safe. What could possibly go wrong? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigel Cass, CEO of Albion. He's kindly stepped up to establish order.
Understand this. I will not allow anyone, not even myself, to jeopardize this.
He will stop at nothing to permanently control the city.
London will be the first city in the world to be made truly safe.
Definitely the whole tone of this game feels a lot different now than it did last time. Feels a lot more real compared to the real world now than it did last time.
Be sure and spread the word.
She and her goons are using the dark web to sell everything from party pills to people.
This microchip is scary, I know, but I got to keep tracks on my merchandise, don't I?
You made me a slave.
You do not want to ruffle her feathers. With the city out on its arse, it now falls on you to build a resistance and take back London.
All right, everyone. Faces on, guns out.
Any of the brave Londoners you see walking the streets can be recruited into your team. Like him. Her. Or even her.
They know.
Everyone could become your next secret weapon. In our first mission, we need to get some dirt on Nigel Cass, and that means breaking into Albion headquarters inside the Tower of London. All the hardy souls you see here are people we have recruited from the streets of London. They all have unique abilities, and you're free to tackle this mission with whoever you like.
Dear God, my eyes. Mikey! Zip up, get to work, and let's never talk about this again.
Like everyone in DedSec, Arthur can hack pretty much whatever. But as a construction worker, he has a particular set of tools that make him handy. He can even call his own cargo drone.
Yes.
Perfect for gate crashing, when you're not invited. And who needs a regular old gun when you have a bloody nail gun?
Jesus Christ, what is that thing?
Perhaps we could approach this mission differently. If you'd rather keep your distance, we've got you covered. Amy is a drone expert.
What have we here?
A real tech connoisseur.
Hate spiders, but love this one.
What an adorable creepy crawler.
Here we are. Let's class the place up.
A drone expert does
They
have
definitely
the unique
sell
ability
this
to
game
summon
well
their
with
own
these
drone.
trailers.
This little darling is
Those are different
fast
things.
and stealthy.
She aims, she fires, she hits.
I'm reading incoming drones.
Man, Darby, what kind of sucks is, at least for us, it might be downhill from here.
It's all going to be downhill for me. I don't have expectations. Because I think this game looks cool, but I'm probably not going to play it.
There are more ways than one to get the job done. Recruiting an Albion officer like Brielle here might be challenging, but it'll get you inside restricted Albion areas.
Yeah, I have to imagine this is the only game you're going to care about, and I'm not going to care about any game.
However, do anything
It's the Ubisoft
suspicious
conference.
and she'll probably wind up with a bullet in the back of her head.
You've been approved for entry.
Besides, I guess, gods and monsters potentially.
We're missing the human element here. I can get the Defense Minister on the line right now.
If you feel you must.
Criminals running our streets, illegals threatening our families, the police commissioner himself, assassinated by terrorists.
Well, that seems to be enough evidence. Next up, we're crashing Mary Kelly's organ farming operation and putting a stop to it.
That's good. The buyers expect high quality stuff.
And we need a hard nut for this.
Impairing our frontal lobe again, are we?
Bags, don't disturb me in my natural habitat.
Say hello to Mickey. The man lives for his team.
That put another hair on my chest.
And doesn't mind getting his hands dirty.
Drunken brawls, let's go.
We should have some of his stats changed somehow when he's drunk.
He just took a beer bomb.
Drinking problem, though. And he's passed out. We'll come back to him. You know what? Let's go with someone a bit more professional.
John Wick.
Yep.
It's almost crass to call him a hitman.
It's interesting to basically just have all the different play styles tied to like, different people. Cool.
Yeah, we're curious to see our last whole game, but I'm into this shit.
Very into it, I'm just very skeptical.
Oh yeah.
Here's the bastard responsible.
It just screams something that would be fun at first but get old.
Dusted.
And it would start to feel like, I feel like there's a bunch of characters, but none of them are very fleshed out. You know, it's like quantity over quality, or quantity over quality.
Everyone can be a hero.
That'd be my worry.
So get out there, find the best recruits, and build your resistance. It's time to take back London.
Maybe there will be maybe one thing that would potentially October 29th.
Plunging
Close
the
to
player into a
console
living,
time, but
breathing
yeah.
city, teeming with unique locales and characters, has always been a central pillar of the Watch Dogs series.
So what goes into building those worlds? Here's Amanda Mutt to tell us more.
This might be a long thing.
My name's Amanda
Well,
Munt.
what did you think
I'm
while we have
artist
this?
on
Since
Watch
I think
Dogs.
No, I really like what I
over this.
saw. It's nice to see more like how different
Being a
I guess
level
people
artist, I
can
think, is
play.
the coolest job in video games because
I guess we get to see how many
we
archetypes
get the
there are
freedom
and how
to
different to
kind
be
of,
like.
pick and
Like we
choose
saw a
what
drone
little
expert, or they're
details
kind of
we
like different
want
kinds
to
of drone
depict,
experts that
and
have little
we get
differences
ample
about them,
opportunities
and that will be
to
a
tell the stories that we want
difference
to tell
in
in the
all
spaces
that.
that we're
And how easily do you switch between like can you like go into a mission as one person be like, I didn't like that, and then just try it again with another one?
Somewhere in the world that was covered in
Ezio?
gas.
The fuck?
Yeah, I think these are all Assassin's Creed games.
Okay, I thought we were still on Watch Dogs. I was like, okay.
There may or may not be something in London that is a boat filled with cats in some capacity.
But also, I think it's kind of nice. Just the general thing about the game is there are kind of stakes when you're playing a mission, because once they die, those characters are done. Like if you build one, if you just have one you really like, they die.
Well, I also wonder that, like, especially if you're building like some equivalent of skill trees or something, would just all those things that you were developing up just go away? Or if you got a different drone expert, would you just automatically have all the things you leveled up or something? Because I could see that being annoying if you were like leveling things up and then every time you die you just lose all your shit or something. That could get old.
Favorite legends on iOS
or just
and
confusing
Android devices.
with that many different characters.
Yeah, because they haven't said exactly how that's going to work as far as like skill tree. But that's one of those good things of, I mean, I think they showed enough here, but we're about to get a bunch of gameplay impressions that get more into that kind of stuff.
I'm more. I think those gameplay impressions are a little more valuable than this trailer. I mean, I think these trailers are really well set up, but
yeah,
it might just be because this is a very cool concept and your imagination will go wild. But like, even like the skill tree thing, I just think both sides. Like, I think of it going one of two ways: either everyone does have individual skill trees, and when they die, it's gone, which sounds like that could be really obnoxious. Or if they all had like shared skill trees, then it might get to feel like, well, they're not really different then. Like, they're different skins technically for a character, but they're pretty much the same thing, you know. Neither one of those sounds super satisfying. That's why when I peel back the layers, I'm still pretty worried about this game not delivering. You know, I hope it does, but I am certainly very skeptical.
That's fair.
But they sell it well. These trailers are fun, you know. Has it been a great 7 months just in general Ubisoft?
Just talking about the game, okay? They were talking about generally for Ubisoft. The last week has not been good for them.
No.
But I said Ben Carson at first, like, wait, what?
Hey, I'm Dr. Ben Carson. I just love this game. Yep.
No, but after we're done recording, I assume it's Hubert from Easy Eyes. I want to go listen to those impressions for Watch Dogs.
I wonder how long I got to play time-wise.
I might be getting mixed up with one of the other impressions. I imagine it was like maybe 3 or 4 hours, maybe at least.
Yeah. Hopefully, it was enough to get
a good idea.
The target is being held on the ground floor.
Is this Fortnite? Is this Team Fortress?
Nope, it's Night Fort.
Oh shit.
Contact! Moan chain is down. Request air support. Target northeast rooftop.
Roger. Inbound. Danger close.
I need an EMP.
This is Gods and Monsters.
You know what? Fuck it, let's do it. Well, I guess it's called Elite Squad.
But it's not gonna be called Gods and Monsters anymore, so this is the meter. Split. So is this something like weird?
Don't do this to people.
I know, like, don't do this to Will. Or tell me this is not that mobile game that has like all the Ubisoft properties.
Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, okay.
Yeah, App Store, Google Play. I think this is that same thing they showed last E3. They got real sad because it's just a mobile game
5 years since
with a
Rainbow
bunch
Six
of Tom
Siege
Clancy
first launched, and the
characters.
community has never been
Well,
stronger.
I guess to be
In
fair to me, I don't think I actually
celebration
watched the
of
conference. I was at work at the time. I just caught some stuff afterwards.
I don't know, but I know it was a mobile game that had a bunch of Tom Clancy characters. So this is the second mobile game with a bunch of Tom Clancy characters.
Rainbow Six Siege, let's go. We're in the Tom Clancy world now.
In December 2015, a small team released Rainbow Six Siege.
Sorry, Will.
A game built on a strong vision, creativity, competitiveness, and team play.
Pour le joueur, le 1er décembre, c'est un début, mais pour nous aussi. Il faut tout de suite s'engager et dire aux joueurs, ce jeu est installé, tu peux t'y installer aussi, et nous serons là.
That original vision was quickly adopted by our passionate community, propelling it to a whole new level.
I got it! I got it!
This is such a special moment, and being at 1 year anniversary of Rainbow Six now, game being stronger.
As far as Watch Dogs goes, I figured it wasn't going to be the case, but I kind of wish that whole September release was true.
But we also had our share of challenges.
Yeah, October 29th is not that much. It's still pretty close to Cyberpunk and everything else.
Connectivity, all those aspects.
Yeah, I guess once we get a better idea, I'll know
the experience of the player.
when I would actually be playing that game.
Through it all, we're always driven by you, our
Cyberpunk just like
community.
2 weeks after that,
And
or
together,
something like that.
we grow stronger.
There is no sequel plan, and we're here for the next 10 years, so expect
And then
more
Miles
Rainbow Six in
Morales
your
will be
life
sometime
for quite some time.
and during that time.
Yep. So it's like it's 3 weeks after. So depending what else is on it, no, it's around there. Give it a go.
I don't know what your priority list between those 3 games would be.
Tous les succès, c'est vraiment le résultat de autant de nous que
You
de
know my
ce jeu,
priorities.
et autant le vôtre qu'il est le nôtre. Nous,
I am a Cyberman
Now
first
60
and
million
foremost.
players strong.
I feel
We're
like
just
for
getting started.
Cyberpunk will probably be top priority, for sure.
From the
Probably
devs
Miles
that
Morales
built
over
the
Watch
game
Dogs is partly
to the
because
community that
new
plays
game on the
it.
PS5 and all that.
That's
Thank
spoilers.
you.
Or that's gonna be one of those games everybody's talking about.
Yeah, and that too. Though, and also potentially for Watch Dogs, I wait because I might want to wait for
If
play
you
on my
haven't tried
PS5.
it yet, dive into our new
Yeah, it's just
Operation
a few
Steel Wave
weeks
update
after. I mean,
available now. And
maybe
take
it'll be
out for a spin.
cross-play, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
A few days ago, we introduced y'all to a brand new multiplayer
And
shooter.
you know, I'm
I
sure
mean,
we'll
probably
get.
will be
It's time to
cross-play. I don't
venture
think they would
into the
launch it that close to PS5 and not.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But like, if we get firm things like cross-play and cross-progression, I'd be more potentially willing. Or
Hyperscape. What's the name of it? Yeah, Hyperscape.
But I'm getting a pretty solid, based on what we know, launch lineup
What was that?
for my PS5.
A hack in the hyperscape. That's not supposed to be there.
Right. Cyberpunk's the only one you really need, but that counts for like 4
About
games.
30 years
So
ago,
I'm good.
everything that we feared about our future started to come true. We made some good decisions. We made some bad decisions. Actually, we made a lot of bad decisions.
Especially if you get Miles Morales physical, I'll probably just play you.
I might go for that just for that,
And I
or
would
at least as
appreciate
far
it.
as what my decision would be.
I
Like,
would be appreciative.
I might be going physical for Paper Mario just so my sister can play it because she's not 100% sure if she wants to get it. And you know, same for
They
you.
gave everyone a
She
way
can have it
out.
first.
The hyperscape. In the hyperscape, the biggest draw by far is Crown Rush. This is where anyone can
The
become
lore, that's what you need in your battle royale, Jeff. Lore.
Like, just because of all the games, I don't expect us to play this probably more than once, but I just think it's a try with me, you, and Alex.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I mean, like we said, if you're doing a battle royale, you need something to stand out, and I think this one definitely stands out.
And hey, it's perfect for us since it's 3 people. 3-man squads.
I saw someone said, like, in the, when they did the press thing, the menu thing, like, it said, like, 3-person squad, like, as the mode they were playing, so that makes me think that there's also going to be single mode.
Okay.
Like, it's not just going to, because Apex is only team. I don't think this is going to be only team.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, that's good. Option.
Options are great.
I kind of wish that, like, even Apex just had a single thing, because especially if I just jump into Apex, I don't want the pressure of letting down 2 other people. I played Apex, like, once on my own, and I had someone screaming at me because I did something wrong, and I'm like, well, I never want to play this game again.
Some of us are searching for a way up. Some of us for a way out. And for others,
At least from a style standpoint, as far as battle royale games,
That's what brings us to
you know,
the
they did a good
edge
job
of
making
the
this stand out.
To the hyperscape.
I'm JC, creative director on Hyperscape.
JC's work on Far Cry Primal and multiple Prince of Persia titles has established him as a top creative here at Ubisoft.
For me, what's exciting
R.I.P.
is
Prince
we
of Persia.
started building it from scratch. Seeing it grow, adding ideas is really cool.
Hello, contender. Welcome to the Hyperscape.
The game takes place in 2054. It's in the future.
They need to go deeper with this. Since you're playing a character, you know, playing as someone who's playing this game in VR, they add a VR mode. So you're playing as a person in VR that's playing the game in VR.
So many layers, Steve.
Within the virtual world, there is a battle royale that takes place in the virtual city of Neo Arcadia. Then we also introduce a lot of new
still
things.
like how vertical the city
you
is.
get the opportunity to do parkour on the rooftops, go into interiors where it's much more narrow, much more stressful. You get to go to the landmarks where there's more opportunities to get cool items, but also more players, so it's a risk-reward kind of deal.
Where are we dropping? We're gonna drop a red tiger every time, Darby.
Oh yeah, that you can pick up on the fly to adapt your tactics. With hacks, you can do things like teleport yourself. You can wrap yourself into a bowl
in this
and,
game, we
bounce
probably
around the
won't be able. We probably wouldn't be able to drop in and just hide in a bathtub for 30 minutes.
So, well, yeah. So here's kind of an interesting thing based on, I guess, what I'm seeing. I might be completely off, and you might know because you know people are always playing the game with the crown thing. They're not gonna have like as far as we know, there's no like storm thing for this, right? The incentive to keep on going because of their crown.
Yeah, that pops up eventually. Like it's after the match has been going on for a while, and if you get the crown and hold on to it for like 45 seconds or something, you immediately win. But I think as soon as you grab the crown, like you come up on everyone's map, like they know where you are immediately, so everyone starts rushing you. So you want to try to like weed everyone out, or like wait for someone else to grab the crown and then pounce on them and take it. You know,
I think that's a cool, interesting incentive to like make it set itself apart, so it's not like everyone where it's like, okay, you know, the storm's coming, let's.
It's cool to mix it up some. Not everyone has to have the same story. You can have other incentives to bring people together. Like you,
and the whole map is viable throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, which is another cool twist. And it seems like you can traverse so fast that even if it's like, oh shit, when you get to the other side of the map, it doesn't seem like that would be the hardest thing in the world. You know, it would take you forever.
That's mine.
Yeah, all you just need everyone to come together for something. It doesn't need to be a storm circle.
Go time.
There seem to be cool powers and gadgets and stuff going on.
It's just very fast paced and chaotic. I would probably be missing half of my shots. More than one.
Closely. Here we go.
Maywall.
Gigantic.
Are you triggered, Darby? Free battle pass. Play the PC of Meta now.
Now. Play it right now. Cool.
Yeah.
The digital world of the Hyperscape gave our artists and developers incredible freedom when it came to designing characters.
Production manager Ana Maria Musca is going to take us behind the scenes of character design.
My name is Ana Maria Musca. I'm the production manager for characters and weapons on Hyperscape. We have paid an exceptional amount of detail to our characters. We switch different outfits, different fashion statements, different tattoos, different materials until we see them as real individuals, as real
not
people.
good at these.
So the second you pick a character, you see them
get to a
in game.
point it feels like everyone else
what their
is.
motivations are and what drives them and what challenges them.
That's why it's hard to ever get out of like your Overwatch hole, because at least I know how to play that
default base, but even starting from the hair down, everything has been meticulously thought of. Would this person actually like this type of outfit? Would this person enjoy the type of tattoos that we're putting on them? Will they actually like to be in this body? Each season, we plan to produce new outfits for these characters. So we're hoping some of our players are gonna see the effort and maybe even correlate some of the accessories to what's gonna happen in the game.
There's gonna be some
We're
Nintendo
very
game,
excited
right,
to see
Jeff?
it in people's hands.
Yep.
As we
Mario
move into the
drops
next
into
generation of
hyperspace.
gaming, Ubisoft has been working closely with console makers to take advantage of all the extraordinary capabilities these new consoles will offer.
Now we have a special guest to tell us a little more.
Bill Spencer.
Hey, Bill Spencer from Xbox. With Watch Dogs Legion, Ubisoft is supporting smart delivery.
Get a better mic.
So you will get the absolute best version of the game on any version of Xbox you're playing on. On Series X, you'll get to take advantage of the amazing work the team has done with DirectX ray tracing to create an absolutely immersive version of London like you've never seen before. Ubisoft has a unique ability to create immersive worlds, setting a new bar that continues to drive our industry forward. I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I love the time I've spent exploring the world in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I can't wait for you to see the gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla that's coming up now.
I'll never understand why
You've been waiting to hear
Xbox
more about this
executives
game
have
since it
worse
was
cameras and
announced
mics
back in
than me and you do.
And now it's time for
They'll
a deep
always,
dive into the world
and they've
of
had
Vikings.
months to fix this.
My name is Julien Laferrière, and I'm the producer of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
And see, Jeff,
So a couple of weeks ago,
Phil
we
Spencer and
announced
Xbox, they were going to give us the Assassin's Creed gameplay. It was just 2 months later. It was fine.
I was about to bring that, and I was like, it's like, first look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplays. Oh, so that wasn't it. You admit that wasn't a gameplay thing.
You know, they were not mindless barbarians. Vikings were actually farmers trying to find new lands for them to settle.
Just realized I think there's a
And
bet
they had
related
really
to this.
Human motivations.
See, back then they were saying,
So
stay
for
tuned
us
for
to have
Assassin's
this
Creed
opportunity
gameplay
to tell
in 2 months.
kind of
That
the
was that
real
ago.
story about Vikings and kind of separate ourselves from the myths and the folklore is really something that drove us to make this game. The team went to Norway and England to take the same roads that the Vikings did to really experience what it
Some
meant to be a
Ubisoft related
Viking at
bets
that
that we
time.
have come up. Will
And
Ubisoft
then
announce a new
leaving
project with Nintendo?
Norway,
Will's the
which
only one who
is
said yes.
Barren but majestic, and just coming by boat
see.
in England.
The whole
and see
games
those
thing. We got Gods and
rolling
Monsters,
green
Beyond
hills
Good and
full
Evil
of sheep,
2.
full of life.
Watch
It's just
Dogs
this
Legion.
moment
Yeah.
that most likely
Surely
the
I didn't bite
Vikings
on Beyond Good and
felt
Evil
as
2.
well.
No, you're the only one
See
who
this
who
land
didn't
of
say, who said
opportunity.
nothing was going to be there.
And this is
So,
exactly
you're right.
the feeling
Wise man,
we
probably.
want players to experience.
They're
in
going to lose
this
some
game.
points because we'll put 2, Jacob put 3 different things.
It is a personal adventure, you know. It is the story of Eivor, a Viking chieftain. Eivor is either a male or a female. You decide.
And then how
when you
much
start the
gameplay will we
game.
see of Assassin's Creed
They will have
Valhalla?
to leave Norway to settle in
Wait, what?
England.
One of the
because
bets was how
you
much
just can't live in
gameplay will we
Norway
see of
anymore. There's
Assassin's
too
Creed
much
Valhalla.
political pressure.
You have
no
below.
resources available.
We hadn't had it yet, right? I mean,
No, I wouldn't count this now.
Obviously, in England, it's full of Anglo-Saxons and other people, and they don't really want you there. So you will have to fight your way there to kind of build your own settlement and see your clan prosper. Vikings were brutal warriors.
Shields!
And the fact that they were mastering a lot of weapons coming from the medieval times really inspired us to kind of revamp the fight system.
It's still just kind of weird that this is for a game called
leverage the
Assassin's
brutality
Creed.
and the intensity of
You're just
Viking
like a
combat.
brutal Viking.
it's just history game at this point.
Were
Which,
not only fighting face to face.
I think overall
they
is
were
more interesting,
masters
but-
of stealth and deception when needed. They used basically any sort of tactics they could use to win the battle. So we want to portray the full range of combat that you can imagine coming from the Vikings. We are very happy to finally be able to show you the game we've all been working on. So please enjoy this
So
deep
we
dive
admit that we have not
into
done that yet.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
But we already seen it.
Is everyone still going to be T-posing? Okay, so now the clock's on. I mean, you can't start it now. You've already missed precious seconds. You're gonna, that's later,
the
Jeff.
epic saga of the Viking invasion of England.
And I won't even count this as gameplay right now anyway.
You play as Eivor, a Viking
Yeah,
from
we in the
Norway,
game.
who will lead his or her battle-hardened warriors across the North Sea to the British Isles. Eivor is driven by an ambitious goal to build a thriving Norse settlement in a hostile land.
For the good of our clan.
Look at all those links.
See, button prompts.
Today we raid, that tomorrow we may build.
England is a dark age tangle of broken kingdoms and warring dynasties, a land of opportunity and riches. As you prowl England's rivers by longship, you may raid locations you spot from the shoreline. Ground your ship and blow your horn to lead your raiding crew into battle.
Burn it all down.
Your crew will assist you in all your raids.
Fire still looks very bad.
Battering down
I hope
doors,
how much stuff you burn down
stealing
affects the
cargo
morality
too heavy
system.
for one set of
Because why not?
The concept of a moral Viking is really funny. He's a good Viking. He rapes and pillages in a good way. Yeah.
And new settlers. At the heart of your settlement is the Alliance map. It will serve as a record of the allies you have made and a guide for future opportunities. The Viking Age was a time of warriors and legends. In Valhalla, you will find the largest variety of enemies ever assembled in an Assassin's Creed game. Every archetype offers a unique challenge. Some will coordinate with their allies for special attacks, while others will use nearby objects to their advantage, including the bodies of fallen warriors. To face these attacks, you must find and exploit
That will
your
forever be
opponent's
my favorite
weaknesses
part of this
to gain
game.
the upper hand. Take the
It's
fight
almost
to your
worth it,
foes
but-
with a host of brutal new combat abilities. Snare them with a Viking harpoon. Pummel them with throwing axes. Incapacitate them with the new stun system to keep them at a distance, or finish them off.
We at Ubisoft created
You
Stun.
will wield any two
Whoa.
weapons you wish to unleash a deadly
Thor's hammer?
combination
Let's
of
go.
attacks.
That's the DLC where they introduce all the
Customize your
magical
fighting
shit.
style as you see fit, and become
But
a
you straight up go to
legendary
Atlantis
Viking
in
warrior.
the Odyssey one, so I think that is kind of how that works.
All combinations of weapons are available to dual wield, including 2 shields.
This is just right at double the shield. Brutal.
Not all situations call for violence. In this new land, a Viking must find a way to adapt. As Eivor is not welcome in England, you may need to outsmart your enemies, avoiding unwanted attention
Road
in
up against-
towns and bustling cities.
That was a very Witcher looking
Use Eivor's
question mark.
hood and cloak to blend with crowds, and slip past watchful eyes, an unseen hunter among the people. From capital cities and villages to the dense forests and rolling hills of England, exploration is vital to keeping yourself sharp. You must feed off the land if you hope to endure.
Pretty wolf.
Hunt and forage
Pretty
to
wolf.
replenish your health and fortify your equipment.
The cricket wolf of the pit. I was supposed to say the cricket wolf
Search
of the
pagan
pie.
temples
Okay,
and
yes.
Roman ruins for new activities
Live
and
by the pie,
challenges
die by the pie.
to strengthen yourself and your
That was a
settlement.
big ass wolf.
The more you explore,
Wealth.
the more of England's secrets you will reveal.
All these fools have scouting birds.
Ravens, show no mercy.
But as you push deeper into England, the
We must go
enemy will
deeper.
push back.
Well, I've seen
In a
this
series of
before.
climactic
I
moments,
guess the leak was
Assassin's
real.
Creed
Wow.
Valhalla will feature massive assaults in which you will lead Eivor's army into battle.
It was just about to show
against
the whole
heavily
30 minutes we
guarded
saw.
Saxon fortresses.
Well, without the T-pose.
Yeah, T-poses and all.
Claim her. Today we fight for
This,
your
this
land.
is the fight where everyone's
And
T-posing.
tomorrow we rebuild.
For a stand.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will
Yeah,
transport
PS4 has gotten to the
wondrous
point where it's like
haunted
environments look really good, but
Norse
faces and
myths
character models up
and
close are
England's
definitely the
pagan
area where it's like, okay,
It
this
will
is probably where
challenge
PS5
and
is going to get a
surprise.
lot better.
Yeah.
with unforgettable characters.
Almost every
Thrilling
game I see
triumphs.
nowadays, it's like pretty environments
tragic
combined
losses.
with like it looks like the
Giving you
characters
the
are kind of in a different game.
Your own Viking saga.
Well, that happened
Combat
every
excellent.
time I killed someone.
Yes.
So we're gonna watch that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I count that?
What, them showing an extra thing? Like,
because it's technically the post show, November 17th.
Ninth
Same
Century
week
England is truly
as
unlike anything the
Cyberpunk.
franchise has seen
Doesn't
before.
affect us, but
Assassin's
yeah.
Creed Valhalla will release this holiday season on Xbox Series X,
Ain't nothing for
PlayStation
me,
5,
but
Xbox One, PS4, PC,
And Switch.
and Stadia.
That means Greg Miller will never play
We're close
Cyberpunk
to
because
wrapping
he'll
up today,
play
but
Assassin's
before we
Creed,
go,
and then by the time he's done with
CEO,
that,
Ian Guillemot,
he'll
is here to
never
share
not
a
go
few
back for
words.
Cyberpunk.
I hope you will have enjoyed
sees.
what you have seen today and that you will love playing these games. I'm proud of our teams for delivering
Rabbits?
an ambitious, broad, and creative lineup of games. And we haven't shown you everything yet. In fact, we have a lot more to come. So you will have another Ubisoft Forward to reveal even more about our upcoming games.
Except for Far Cry
Before
6, I'm sure.
ending this show, we have one more thing to share with you.
Big surprise! Ian just showing them right at the beginning in the credits.
Yep.
The actor, he was his name.
Because on one hand, as far as timing for us, it's good that this is going to be the last thing. It sounds like, what are you going to show in the second one? Unless you're going to show more of these games. I mean, there's the Gods and Monsters and stuff, but that's like the only other like obvious one at this point.
Yeah.
I guess Rainbow Six, whatever, Quarantine or whatever as well.
It's like a TV show intro. 007. It's the intro to the new 007 movie. Baby Voss.
You guys surprised?
Shit, wow. Wonder if that's all they have to show because they thought it was going to be a surprise.
Fuerzas ultrapenetrantes, estamos cansados de los farsantes, de los...
It's beautiful, Miguel. Perfect, but useless. I have something for you, Diego. Give me your hands.
Papa,
Now, the grenade is simple. It has 4 basic parts. The shell, which contains the explosive, the fuse, the handle, and of course, the pin.
What are you doing?
Breathe. The pin simply holds the handle in place. It is only when you let go that this grenade goes boom. Follow me. Now, I am El Presidente, which means that someday you will be El Presidente. And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart by opinions, noise, indecision, strangled by their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, Even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves.
Not political.
Yeah, also not a political.
They will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe, will be wrong. They will answer you with screams, call you evil, a monster, and give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? Are you a monster? Because our country is like this grenade, except it has two basic parts. Our people and you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom. Do you understand now? Prove it.
Boom. Kabammy. Baby. Yeah, not political. The Division wasn't political either. Watch Dogs Legion's not political. Far Cry 6 not political. No political messages
And with that,
here.
we're wrapping up our first Ubisoft Forward. Today, we've seen the next generation of Assassin's Creed, the birth of a resistance
Far
in
Cry's
Watch
definitely
Dogs
good at
Legion,
making like memorable villains
the
and stuff.
cyber
It's
chaos
just-
of Hyperscape,
like that
and the
part's
epic
always
reveal of
cool.
Far
It's
Cry's
just
newest installment,
the gameplay.
along with
It's
so
just
much
gonna be
more.
Far Cry probably.
Remember, we'll be back later this year with another Ubisoft Forward filled with tons of game news and updates.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I guess that was a Ubisoft.
That was one whole Ubisoft.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ubisoft Forward post show. My name is
Alright,
Yusuf
we
McGee.
are tuning
This
out of this
is
post show,
Assassin's Creed
ladies and
Valhalla.
gentlemen. And we are going to transition into episode whatever the hell, 148 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. Jeff, do you need me to put the stream down for you to prepare any or something? I can go to the intro screen for just a minute if you need. If you would like me to.
I don't know if there's anything necessarily need to.
Stuff.
I don't see if there's any extra information on. Might have missed.
Yeah, I'll just go to the intro thing for just a second and we'll look over the notes and stuff we got here, but we'll start the podcast in just uno momento, so stay tuned. You can get your time ready, Jeffrey.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna.
I know you're fine.
I'm just gonna make a thing so I'm ready to have 2 time codes. One for the accusation stuff, or that whole thing, and then the Ubisoft Forward discussion.
Cool. You gotta talk in a British accent the entire time we're doing the Watch Dogs Legion.
God, no.
Me neither. You don't want to hear that. Hello and welcome to episode 148 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And Jeffrey.
Darby?
We just watched Ubisoft Forward. If anyone's tuning on twitch.tv/Nerds at Large Gaming, they just saw us react to that their conference. If you didn't tune in live, if you're watching this later on podcast or YouTube, you can go find that at youtube.com/Nerds at Large and see our reactions during the moment. I'd say probably the most discussions came from Watch Dogs Legion.
Oh yeah, we're gonna discuss it some more, baby. Let's go.
That's what we are going to discuss some more in just a minute. So this is gonna be a slightly different podcast. We're doing it right after this reactions. Might be a little bit shorter because of that and the other things like that. But yeah, that is that. I guess before we get into talking about that conference, I just have a few housekeeping things. This is the last week I'm probably going to promote this at the top, but please go check out The Last of Us Part 2 Spoilercast with Respawn Aim Fire that we just recorded a few weeks ago. It's real good. We are going to be doing another Last of Us Part 2 Spoilercast on our Nerds at Large Spoilercast podcast feed and on YouTube with Mr. William Outlaw. He is currently playing through it. Whenever he gets done and whenever he's free, we'll do that. No timetable on that at the moment, but that will happen. So look forward to that. Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, about 2 weeks from now, Dari, we're at a special episode number.
Yes, we will have our episode 150 spectacular in just like 2 weeks, I guess.
Yep, and we got something planned.
We do have something planned.
So I need to record at some point.
But in the meantime, we have this, we had quarantine recommendation games or whatever. We had that opening segment going for a while. We're going to have episode 150. It's going to be more than an opening segment. It's going to be the whole daggone thing. But, we didn't have quarantine recs to, guide us into that. So I wanted to have another opening segment, to, help bridge us there. And this opening segment is going to be called That's Hot. Springs. Jeffrey, take this question however you see fit. Would you rather see an anime hot spring scene between Cloud Strife and Barrett Wallace or Geralt and Zoltan from Witcher 3?
Geralt and Zoltan.
Okay, why?
I think just because the dialogue and banter and the stories that would potentially be told be a lot more interesting than Cloud and Barrett.
That is true. Cloud's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And Geralt's hot.
It's true.
That's hot. Springs. Jeff, let's get into the news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. I know that it was coming.
The best opening segment to ever exist, Jeff. I think we learned a lot.
Are you going to bring...
Okay. Let me work. You worry about you. I worry about me. Okay.
You're the opening segment guy.
Yeah. My opening segments that I think about literally 10 minutes before walking into the podcast. Jeffrey, Ubisoft Forward.
Yep.
It happened.
Yep.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was okay. Do we want to talk about it overall, or you want to just jump straight into Watch Dogs Legions? That's what
are we going to talk about something else first?
Oh, right. Duh. Yeah, sorry. I'm already going off script. We're loosey-goosey. It's all over the place. Yes, actually, more important, serious news before we get into that.
Yes, I'm just going to go ahead and just read this thing. This comes from Brendan Sinclair from GameIndustry.biz. 3 high-ranking Ubisoft executives have stepped down after a recent wave of allegations of sexual misconduct and a toxic culture throughout the company. The publisher today announced that Chief Creative Officer Sergei Hoskoit managing director of Canadian studios Yannis Malat and its global head of HR Cecile Cornet would no longer be filling those roles. It said that the step down following the initiation of a rigorous review that the company initiated in response to recent allegations and accusations of misconduct and inappropriate behavior. A report in the French newspaper Liberation yesterday identified Hascoët as playing a central role in the company's culture problems, with one source saying the executive has the most toxic behavior in the whole business. Quote, Ubisoft has fallen short in its obligation to guarantee a safe and inclusive workplace environment for its employees, said Ubisoft CEO and co-founder Yves Guillemot. This is unacceptable, as toxic behaviors are in direct contrast to values on which I have never compromised and never will. I am committed to implementing profound changes across the company to improve and strengthen our workplace culture. Moving forward, as we collectively embark on a path leading to a better Ubisoft, it is my expectation that leaders across the company manage their teams with the utmost respect. I also expect them to work to drive the change we need, always thinking of what is best for Ubisoft and all of its employees. End quote. Guillemot will be filling Hascoët's role on an interim basis, where he will manage a complete overhaul of the way in which the creative teams collaborate. Ubisoft specified that Mallet will leave the company because the recent allegations that have come to light in Canada against multiple employees make it impossible for him to continue in this position.
Yeah, so this was, I mean, obviously I'm not super familiar with all the individual higher-ups and all these, the specific, I had never heard this guy's name, but, after hearing about his job and especially hearing, game journalists and people who, know more about it, sounds like he was a very, very big deal, as far as the actual games being made and the direction of Ubisoft's games and the company in general. So, I mean, it does show that we with especially this new movement and with everything that's happening, that even the most important people are not safe, and they shouldn't be safe. Clearly, that it is pretty wild. It's obviously these stories are getting more and more common, but that doesn't make them any less impactful and meaningful and rough to see as well.
So interesting timing for all this to happen the day before the Ubisoft Forward. A lot of times when something happens, not necessarily in the company, sometimes people throw up a statement when an event happens. Ubisoft decided not to do that. In fact, in a tweet earlier today, they said that they were, because this is a pre-recorded thing, they were not going to do or say anything about the stuff in it, which is definitely a cop-out. Because you could have easily recorded something just nice and quick and have thrown it at the beginning.
It's been enough days in advance. All you had to do was have Yves Guillemot come out there and say, "Hey, we understand this happened." Whatever.
I'm gonna assume
even just text on the screen saying, "Hey, we know this happened. We are committed to such and such."
I think a big part of the reason is because this is a lot of people that probably watched that don't know this happened, and they don't want to put that in people's mind as they're watching their games.
I think that is a big part of it. I mean, I think the fact that this happened right before it's they're coming out on stage, and right before all the eyes are on them, this happens, and they didn't want to marry those things together too much, which is probably not good. It's that's something that it's other companies have done. Have had these type of things and have actually addressed them. So seems like they should have as well. Yeah. But I guess it is good that he wasn't safe from these. That was a big move for Ubisoft to make, even if they probably should have owned it more. But it's definitely going to be interesting having one of the central people as far as making Ubisoft what Ubisoft is gone.
I guess we said about what we said as far as that kind of stuff goes. From the games perspective, pretty much. They already said they were going to try to move away from their games pretty much having a Ubisoft formula as much. And considering the guy who was in charge of that, or charge of having a Ubisoft formula is gone.
Right.
I guess that thing will definitely more likely to happen, or maybe even a crazier departure from it. Hopefully,
who knows? Yeah, who knows? At the very least, obviously, internally, workplace issues need to change.
Yeah,
but
it's obviously good for the other employees at Ubisoft that these apparently very toxic people are now gone, at least from the position. It seems at least one of them is left. I thought I saw the other ones might have just been gone, but it sounds like as of right now, it's just the one.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not the best people to talk about this, but we feel it's important to say regardless, especially before we start going into a bunch of just video game stuff. It's important to address the more serious side that's going on, as it feels like we have to do every week at this point, but it's important.
Yep.
But with that being said, let's talk about some video games.
Okay.
Because there were some video games shown today.
There were some video games.
Not too many total, and definitely not many that we're interested in. But there is one.
There's one, and they started the show with it.
They started the show with a pretty extensive Watch Dogs Legion thing.
Let's go, baby.
You got the cinematics and the gameplay, and they still had the very cool... I will still always say that, like, regardless however this game turns out, I think that the marketing has always been really cool. How they're like, oh, this situation, and like, how would it be different with this person? Oh, how would it be different with this person? And, they do that in really cool ways.
Yeah. What makes me kind of excited for this game, and of course, like, you talked during it that you're skeptical of it, and I'm skeptical to a point too. Of course, I think everyone should be until at least until maybe we hear some of these gameplay impressions that are now out for this game.
That'll help.
That will 100% help as long as they're positive and all that. But even if it's not as far as I want it to go, I think I at least will have a good time with this game, because even just with Watch Dogs 2, kind of more limited version of this stuff, I had a lot of fun. And the Ubisoft style, or those open world style games, they're usually not my thing at all, but there are a couple that kind of grab me and I can get really into, and just everything that we saw from this presentation, what I know I like from Watch Dogs 2 is like, okay, I think I would really like this game, if not outright love it, just based on what we're seeing. And if it goes as far as it's saying, that will be a big bonus. But one thing that you made me think about, that I'm hoping it is a thing. You're talking about like the characters and stuff, and not being able to feel for these characters, potentially just the way it's all set up and all that. While it's really cool that it looks like every single kind of major cutscene, it can, the character you're currently controlling will be in it, and that will be who are voicing it, and maybe affected up to a point. But as far as like feeling for these characters from a narrative perspective, what might hurt it is, while the villains are the same throughout the whole thing, I'm hoping there's at least a couple central good guys, or guys on your team that are always there and are part of the story throughout the whole thing.
Command at the top or something, even if you're not playing as them,
or some tech person that's kind of doing something like that.
Because my thing this whole time, and I'm not trying to sound like super negative, it just seems like this is a very hard thing to do, what they're doing, and it hasn't really been done before. With we're trying to tell you this cool like narrative single player thing, but you can recruit anybody, plays all these different things, anyone can die at any time, all these other all of that. There's just a lot of concerns gameplay wise that we can definitely get into, but even like you were saying, narrative, I could see if we get to the end of this game and there's like a dramatic scene with a character that I literally just got for the first time. It's like, oh well, this random construction worker just happened to be the final boss one. I could just see it like not completely landing, or it just feeling like every interaction had to make sense with a super assassin hitman or a grandma. Like they all, like either one of those characters have to be able to slot into any position in the story. So like, how far can you really go with that when you have to be able to copy and paste anyone into it? It might not feel as tailored or as like,
that is definitely I think a concern.
It's just, it's a problem. I'm sure they know. You don't go into this game without thinking about some way out of that type of problem. But I could really see this game, like early impressions, and even you get it, and you might just love the whole thing, but a lot of people might get it and early on be really digging it, but by hour like 6 or 7 or something, they might be like, all right, kind of don't really care about any of these characters, and the whole gimmick is kind of worn off of me, and then it just might end up feeling kind of hollow after that.
So potentially for me, and I'm just speaking for me, not saying like, Watch Dogs 2 didn't have a particularly great story, great memory, and like I can't remember too much for it. And I think I beat it, or I almost beat it. Point is, I played most of that game and that's the whole thing. I don't remember much from that character. It was the gameplay that really got me and all that. And I think for this, what they add on, that will get me. So I can still love it, but even if the story stuff isn't up to the thing. Not to say, that stuff shouldn't be talked about or criticized if it is the way we're talking potentially.
Yeah, but no, and I think this, even though the like, when you stop and think about everything that's happening in this game, it's kind of serious stuff, but it's definitely made in a very like playful sandbox, like go crazy type way. It doesn't, I don't think it's going to be like some crazy gripping narrative, and that's not what it's supposed to be. But even from the gameplay side, it's, again, I think it could be awesome, but it also could fall apart really quickly because, will it be one of those things that's like, there are so many characters, but once you start playing, it's like, okay, there's really actually like 5 characters. They're just all presets. There's different skins for these 5 types of characters or everything. And that would be disappointing. And this is what I was saying on stream. That would be disappointing. And the only other way I could see it going is that, like, they're all very different and you level them all up differently, but when they die, you like lose everything. It's like, that also sounds really
well, that's
obnoxious.
one thing I definitely want to hear from impressions, how like leveling up or that kind of stuff works. Like, and again, we'll probably have that answered right after we're done recording this.
Yeah. You can go look at other stuff.
Yeah. And I might, depending on what we're talking about next week, I might bring up like before some impressions as my impressions
of impressions.
Yeah, because I am very hyped for this game. I have been since it was announced. So
it's a very cool concept.
Yeah, I am very looking forward to this game. It's coming out October 29th. There was a rumor of it coming out in September. I was hoping it was going to do that because it filled the hole that Cyberpunk did. That would have instantly probably made it a day one for me.
Yeah.
It could still potentially, depending on how other things go out, because while it is closer than I would like, it's 3 weeks before Cyberpunk.
Yeah, you could beat it.
Or at least get mostly done with it.
It's probably not. I wouldn't think it would be like a freaking 25, 30 hour game. I would think more like 10 to 15, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think maybe more in the middle of that. I can see it'd be like the 25, 30-ish hour thing. Hopefully not really any more than that.
That would take me longer than that, probably.
Yeah. But, so, I'm looking forward to this game. That's up to me was the highlight. And just from the gameplay thing, I have more hope for like differences in gameplay just based on what they showed. Just showing like with the construction work, you have this big drone thing that you can hype on. Like when they showed that cinematic movie thing as like in the girl hacker got on that, it's like, okay, you got to get on that thing, right? You can't just show us this and not do it. I'm glad during the gameplay they showed it's like, awesome, let's go.
Yeah.
And just showing enough like with the girl with the drone and just all that kind of stuff, and just kind of the other idea stuff they show is like, I think there might be enough there, even if they're not like each character is different. There's going to be a lot of crossing over, but let's say there's like half a dozen main archetypes that are different enough. As far as me, like in Watch Dogs 2, I did the role-playing stuff where I tried to do more hacking and all that kind of stealthy stuff. With this, I can definitely see myself getting to just for the fun of it. Like, okay, makes sense to use this person. I'm going to try to do it like it is this person, that type of thing.
Right. And so it might incentivize you to play different play styles.
Yes, and that's what has me excited.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's not just clear, like, oh, this one archetype or one character is just overpowered in every situation. So that's what... I don't know if that will be the case, but... I mean,
some people who don't want to do the variety as much might end up not liking this game because it's like, it's just boring. I just go in there and shoot everyone every time, and it's boring.
That stuff definitely happened with Watch Dogs 2, where people just use the whole shooting thing.
Right, which, I mean, that's valid if you didn't want to do the other things. The game needs to make it fun for everyone, regardless how you approach it. But I hate to sound so negative. I'm just like...
No, you're bringing up valid points.
I don't know where, like, if you bullet to my head, I think this game's going to be slightly disappointing. I think overall it's going to be like 7-ish, and I think there are going to be people who really like it, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that are like, it's a video game. Where I think it's going. This game, I would predict, is going to have some coming down to earth. That's going to be like so crazy. Oh my god, it's going to be amazing. You get in there and you'd be like, okay, some of these things are true, but it's also you can see through. You can see the video gaminess about it and be like, okay, this is what they wanted to do, but there's really like 5 presets, and the whole like. Is it the granny's a construction worker? Might not be very might not be very entertaining at the end of the game as it is in the beginning. That's what I would predict at this point. I really hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong, but Either way, I'm probably not going to get it. Watch Dogs has just never really been my thing, and even Watch Dogs 2, when I was like doing the hacking and doing all of that, I was like, I just never really enjoyed it that much. But that's more of a personal thing.
Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of the hacking, it's showing the hacking and moving around cars. That kind of stuff I just have fun with, messing around with for a little while.
Yeah, that's cool.
To break up all the craziness. Okay, they showed Brawlhalla. It's coming to mobile. Cool. Might and Magic. I can't even remember what they said for that. I guess it's doing well. Tom Clancy's Elite Squad mobile.
Sorry, Will. That's the only
Sam Fisher, baby.
Sorry, Will.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an announcement of that or what.
If so, it's a second mobile game with a bunch of Tom Clancy characters. So.
Yeah. So yeah. They showed something about Rainbow Six Siege, but we were talking about other stuff at the time, so I had no idea what they.
You don't come here for that.
No. Hyperscape. We gotta. While there have been plenty of gameplay videos and all that kind of stuff about it. I guess I can't speak for you. I haven't watched too much of that kind of stuff. Read out some stuff. But
I've seen a lot of preview stuff about it. I've seen a fair amount. Like hearing talking about it, seeing it.
Nice, cool cinematic trailer helping explain the lore, and them going just deeper into the kind of mechanics for this. I guess for good for people who might have missed the announcement.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of new stuff in here, but still just reminded me again how I do think this game is doing a lot to stand out as a battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's probably not a game I'd play that much because I don't play other really battle royales, but I definitely could see this getting an audience. This doesn't feel like a battle royale that would just come and fade away like so many others. At least it feels like it's setting itself up for success better than a lot of other ones entering the market does, because the chaos, the speed of it, the abilities like verticality, and the fact that it has you get this crown and you have to hold this crown for 40 seconds to win, rather than having the storm circle come
we were
in.
talking during the actual conference that I kind of liked how different it is. Since the circle doesn't close, the whole map is viable at all times and all that kind of stuff, and I think they did the idea they have sounds cool as far as not having the circle.
It's a golden snitch, pretty much.
Like incentivizing not hiding and getting to the action.
Yeah, it's cool to have a different way to bring everyone together. You need some way for progressively, towards the end of the match, everyone comes together, and I think that's a pretty unique way. And I could definitely, especially with being squads, I can see in the previews that I heard people, they were already talking about how they saw the crown there, but there was people everywhere, so they kind of just camped out and waited for someone else to grab it and then pounced on them, and different strategies like that could be really cool. And it sounds like once the crown comes out, it's just chaos of everyone bloodbath.
So you might know this. I'm just kind of curious for the crown thing. Does it have to be 45 straight seconds, or is it kind of
I don't know that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know exactly how all that works as far as what you do to lose it, or is this you lose it when you die type thing.
Yeah,
which
I'm not sure.
That makes my whole
I'm
question.
not sure if it's collective. If you get collective seconds.
I have to imagine with this 45 second, odds are most matches end with just people killing each other.
Yeah, because if you kill everyone else, then you just hold the crown. I think the crown is just a means to it, and the crown is a thing to bring everyone together. It's probably
some mind games.
It's probably one of those if you're fast enough and crafty enough, you might be able to win with everyone else still alive if you can get away.
That just might be a strategy that some people come up with to just get the crown and just keep it and run away.
Especially if you're in a squad of 3, the other 2 can cover you as you just dodge and duck
and use
and
the
run
ability
away from everyone. Yeah,
they focus mastering abilities to run away.
Yeah,
and
put up the wall. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
that could definitely be cool. I think it's a cool looking game. And beta is going on right now.
Right now,
PC,
free battle pass.
It's only PC. I know.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
Finally, we got some Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. Phil Spencer finally delivered.
See, Phil Spencer, they didn't lie. They said, stay tuned for Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay in 2 months. We just all missed the 2 months part. They said it under their breath.
Yeah. Crafty little Philly. So yeah, I don't know how much we actually need to talk about this, because we talked about Assassin's Creed gameplay from what we saw last week because it leaked. But I guess they showed different stuff here.
They did. Generally, I think the leaks generally
pretty much showed raids.
They were pretty good for obviously it was very unpolished then, where this looked more polished, but it was pretty much the same type of gameplay. We got a good idea from that.
It's kind of more explained how the story is going to go. It's you got these maps and you can see who you have allies where and all that kind of stuff. Showed kind of way all the stuff you can do in combat more than because the combat was relatively simple in the thing we saw last week, where at least this one had a lot more variety with like using multiple shields to rush down people
and
have like a rope thing to grapple them, grapple people, and
fire, throwing stuff, projectiles, all those other things. Like, I mean, I think people are gonna love this game. I mean, I'm sure this is checking a bunch of boxes for a bunch of people. I mean, it looks like if you like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and you like Assassin's Creed Origins, I'm sure you're gonna like this game. Yeah. And if you didn't like those two, like me and Jeff don't really care for that, then I don't think either of us are really interested in all, and I can't see that changing.
Nope. Well, especially since this comes out 2 days, November 17th, before Cyberpunk. So
hell no.
Yeah, they have I was curious what they were gonna do. I guess at this point they had to put them close together. Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed are pretty close together, like 3 weeks apart.
Yeah, that's probably just the way the cookie crumbles because Watch Dogs getting delayed so much.
Yeah,
wasn't supposed to be this way, but
yep. And finally, the last thing they showed, Far Cry 6, a surprise announcement, Darby. We had no way to know this was coming.
Shocker.
What? Yeah. There's so much as far as the actual game, they showed a kind of like TV intro style thing to announce it.
It was very artistic looking. It was a little like True Detective or 007 intro or something.
I'm just gonna go and throw it out there that even if we didn't know Far Cry was coming in any way, shape, or form, we probably would have started seeing that. It's like, this is ending a Ubisoft thing. This is Far Cry.
Oh yeah.
The moment you see like dictator stuff, like it's probably Far Cry.
Yeah, you see like propaganda, bullets, all these other things, and it's like we would have gone into this conference being like, yeah, there's a very good chance that there's Far Cry because it's a Ubisoft thing. I thought the cinematic was really well. The cinematic after that title thing was really well done. I mean, it was Far Cry, like all the way through. Far Cry has had very memorable and well acted villains that they just always have. Obviously, Voss is like everyone's favorite, but Pagan Min was really, really good. The creepy cultish Christian dude or whatever in Far Cry 5. Yeah, I didn't play the game, but I saw enough of it. Like, he's also pretty like wacky but interesting bad guy. And this one played by John Carlos Esposito definitely seems like another one that's just like
getting a lot of work lately,
instantly memorable. And I would have I think it was well done.
He's the perfect Far Cry bad guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely feeding into a lot of like kind of African country unrest thing or whatever, and I'm sure it won't be completely well equipped to handle that like super well. I'm sure it's going to be like.
I'm very curious. I was curious if there's going to be anything in there for you to kind of confirm that kid is Voss.
Nothing that I could see. I'm sure there's things where Voss hints at his past, but it's been so long since I played it that I don't remember that stuff. I still think it probably is. I think that scar is like being in the exact perfect spot. And doesn't that kind of seem like, I mean, especially if Far Cry is starting to lose popularity, it's just like the same thing as Pokemon going back to Gen 1. It's like, oh, everyone always reveres Far Cry 3. Well, let's tie it to Far Cry 3 so that people get excited again. It just seems like I'm not saying they should do that. I hope they don't like mess up Voss. I hope they don't make like weaken him as a character or something. But like, it just makes sense to me as a business suit decision to be like, oh well, we're starting these games. They're starting to lose popularity. Let's go back to this. Let's tie it back to the one that everyone cares about.
I'm curious though, like if Far Cry actually is overall losing popularity. Like I know New Dawn did as well, but that was kind of a side game. I feel like 5 sold very well.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong. 5 probably didn't.
It's one of those games. It was one of those games in our circles didn't make much of a splash, but. It was. I think it was continuing on the PDs and pretty high up for that year.
Yeah, that's true. But even if it is gaining popularity, I mean, it's just something to like. People, there are going to be more headlines about this if it's like Voss than if it's not.
100%. And it is coming out February 18th, 2021. And we did not see any gameplay, but this isn't the only Ubisoft Forward we're getting this year. They didn't put a date on it, but they said sometime later this year. I was hoping it'd be one of those things where they're like, and it's coming in August or something.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Darby, that means probably anyone who said Gods and Monsters was being shown is going to lose points on that bet. Because we did not see that. That's the main bummer from this. Like
maybe it'll squeak right in there by the end of the cutoff.
Like I guess we can also just talk about what wasn't here. I didn't expect Beyond Good and Evil 2 here. Like there's always a chance, maybe whatever, but I didn't expect it. Gods and Monsters I definitely 100% expected. I kind of bummed about that. So I was curious to see what that game looks like now and what direction they went.
I would have been more interested in. Yeah, but it's weird because it's like not a ton was here, but it also just doesn't feel like we should have enough for a whole nother one of these, at the same time.
So as far as like you look at this list and what they actually showed from them, they pretty much went they went pretty in depth for Watch Dogs Legion. Then they had the Brawlhalla, Might and Magic, Tom Clancy, and Rainbow Six Siege.
It was like Watch Dogs, Hyperscape, and Assassin's Creed were like the bulkiness.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. And then the
yeah.
Far Cry thing at the end, which was at least like, I don't know, probably about 8 to 10 minutes between both things, probably. So pretty much 4 big things they actually put a significant amount of time in. I think this thing ended up being about 45 minutes long.
Which I appreciate the length.
So you look at potentially what they could do for another Ubisoft Forward with what they have. They're going to show Far Cry 6 gameplay. Like I think we can agree that's definitely happening. Gods and Monsters,
Rainbow Six, Quarantine, even if that was a new name.
And then potentially show off some, like depending when it is, show off a little more Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed to just promote it. Not saying like big things, but a little trailer.
Yeah, you could have enough. I do think we'll end up in the long run wishing that it was just one event, like an E3 style thing. Like this is the problem with these is I don't think we need more than one Ubisoft event for a summer. It's like it's already questionable enough for Ubisoft to have their own thing. And to have 2 different ones, it's just like that's probably gonna end up feeling like padded, like not necessary. This is why I am still firmly in the camp that I wish that we just still had E3 because I like it all being video game Christmas in 1 week. So yeah, it was an okay show. I don't think it was like offensive in any way, but it was I knew going in that I wasn't going to care about any of the games. At least Watch Dogs Legion had a cool trailer, and so did Far Cry 6. But
I don't think pacing was too bad as far as what they were doing. Like they made it clear, like okay, we're going to go in depth for a couple games and. I don't think any of this stuff are like overly long or necessarily uninteresting. Even most of these games were stuff we were interested in, but they're showing stuff we're fine.
It was pretty tight. They didn't waste a lot of time. There was nothing I was really interested in, but as far as like a conference and its pacing, and Ubisoft has had bloated, incredibly long press conferences before, and this I'm glad to see this wasn't. That.
So here's where I'm at as far as the whole E3 versus this separate thing. I would definitely be okay with going back to the E3 consolidating thing, but to add on to that, I'd also be okay with companies like Ubisoft and EA just keeping the digital event. Because I feel like that helps take care of the fluff in those presentations.
Yeah, but just like maybe one digital event.
Oh no! I'm just saying, like instead of having the big
conference,
it'd be a digital event like this. Like EA's thing was better and more well paced. Same thing with Ubisoft for what they had.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm even fine with it all being digital. I just like it being like, okay, we have to everyone's doing this for this week. We need to be there for that week. I know that's not the best for the people actually making the games, but when they come, like this summer, and we're gonna have this entire conversation as a main topic, I'm sure later this summer. But there's just too much. There are too many events, and the vast majority of them do not have enough to justify themselves. It's like there's a few little gems here and there, and if you put all those gems together, you could have a cool showcase. But separate, it just gets to be like, goddamn, it's impossible.
This summer's events brought to you by Haven.
Yes, for real, dude. I'm surprised they didn't show up here. It's like, hey, we're not tied to Ubisoft at all, but we're here.
Time to talk about a conference we are very excited for.
Yes.
So this is a lot. We're gonna talk about Microsoft. There's a lot here to talk about Microsoft that's been multiple things. So let's get into it, baby.
This one's basically is gonna be E3 probably.
Yeah, this is just pair this with the PlayStation thing, and should be a weapon. Right. So. Xbox announced their live stream, their Xbox Series X first party game live stream thing, whatever it is, July 23rd. The thing is, I think, I just want to put that in there. There are a lot of people talking about third party things being there as well. I don't know if Microsoft has said that particularly yet. I feel like they announced this as a first party thing people are getting hyped up for all these third-party things, and we've kind of mentioned it. I don't know if they themselves have mentioned it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If it is, cool, awesome, I'll take it. But if there isn't there, just keep your hype.
I wonder, did they ever actually like officially say this is a first party event? I just
they
can't remember.
They called it like an Xbox Game Studios thing.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that's fair enough. Like make it sound like these are first parties only.
I would assume, if you're gonna assume something, I would probably assume just first party.
But I feel like Jeffy Grubb and stuff have kind of said that hint at third parties. Theirs was. I believe Jeff Grubb at this point. Yeah. But also, Microsoft hasn't said it themselves, so it's kind of like, let's temper expectations.
And apparently they have another event in August, even though that's apparently more console-based.
That one's supposed to be, as far as we know, completely hardware-based.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But even just first party, I'm still pretty interested. Obviously, third party.
So, I want to go through studios and talk about potential predictions and wants and all that kind of fun stuff?
Sure. And what I'm hoping this event has some things that we just can't predict.
Yeah. So, 343 Industries. We are seeing Halo. They already said we're getting a first look at the Halo's campaign.
I don't know, dude.
They said we're getting the first look at the Halo campaign, which, that's exciting.
Yes. No,
we want to see that.
We keep talking about how they have to be able to sell someone like you with no ties to Halo whatsoever, and that's the chance. That's the time.
Yep. Compulsion Games. So they announced this acquisition 2 years ago. We haven't really seen anything from them since. I think we've seen some We Happy Few like DLC stuff, but nothing crazy.
When did We Happy Few come out?
I think it was 2018. I can pull that real quick. It's right here. I think August 2018. So I think, especially since they might have already started working on a game before that, I think we'll see a game from them here.
I do too, and I think with some of these, you might see games earlier than you normally would have because Xbox wants to sell a console and be like, look at all these games we have in development. So I could see there being several games with just teaser trailer just to be like, Compulsion's working on something. Here's a vague idea of it.
Yeah, especially they want to show that them buying these studios is paying off.
Yeah. So. There's definitely gonna be some games that we walk away with like, I don't really know. Like, didn't see enough to know about this game, but
Double Fine. We are definitely getting Psychonauts 2 here. Believe it.
Yeah, if we don't, I'm real sad.
Yeah, what's also very exciting, I can tie this in with this. GameIndustry.biz did a awesome series articles, just 2 articles talking to recent studio heads from the studios Microsoft has acquired, talking about their time with Microsoft and what that means for them and what Game Pass means and all that.
Yeah.
It's a very good read. But I skimmed it very close attention mainly to like the Psychonaut stuff with Tim Schafer and that kind of stuff, and he pretty much said like for a couple things, because of Microsoft money, they were able to put back in scrap boss fights into Psychonauts 2. Well, actually, the way he made it sounds like they might have been like almost no boss fights, but they added them back. They were able to add them back into the game.
That is awesome. That's the good side of being bought out by a corporation. I mean, it feels like at the moment from what we have to go off of from everyone that has worked with them recently, it seems like Microsoft is being very hands off with these people. Like you have money.
They even say that one of the I think it might have been Mr. Booty. We're saying like, you just go in there, kind of pitch us general ideas, or may not even that. Go lock in and then show us when you have something concrete, and just kind of.
I think it was one of the other, like, I don't remember which one it was. I just heard that like someone else on one of these studios said it's like, we've barely even talked to Microsoft. We basically just got the funding and the money, and there's like we kind of forget that we're even owned by them. We just like work on our shit.
And going back to Tim Schafer, he was talking about like he's so happy he doesn't have to actually go and pitch games necessarily to people, and he has this big folder of ideas that he's like, no one's going to pay for this, but he's like, just because of Game Pass and all that kind of stuff, and Microsoft just wanting weird content like. A wide range of content on there that he could pull out that folder and kind of take those ideas. It's like, okay, we can actually do this stuff now.
It's a really interesting angle to all of this that Game Pass can kind of unlock, like that AA that, like, you know, it's not the big blockbuster thing, but like could have some. I mean, we talk about, you know, a lot of these big AAA companies and stuff being pretty static and making a lot of the same type of games, but something like Game Pass, that it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to light the world on fire, because you just have people on the subscription service that you're just getting consistent money from, and like they might check it out when they never would have previously.
Yeah,
they never would have like gambled and spent $30 on your weird ass game, but if you have Game Pass, it's like, sure, why not? You know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the studios that Microsoft have been buying up to this point is like they're very good ones. Like, okay, you just kind of do what you want, and that just kind of that fills up a unique catalog for Microsoft.
Yeah,
and for the game studios, like, okay, we have more funding and all that kind of stuff to do, kind of, you know, what we want.
Like, it's a good reality when you have Unchained Double Fine. You can have Tim Schafer doing whatever the hell he wants. That's just a good reality. Yep. Brutal Legend was a good game, and no one gives it enough credit. That was a really good game.
Fun game. In Exile Entertainment, I think we're just going to see Wasteland 3. I think that's
yeah, we already know what they're working on and all that stuff.
Mojang Studios. There's gonna be some kind of Minecraft.
There could be some Minecraft staying at Prince money.
Yeah. Ninja Theory. According to Jeff Grubb, we are apparently seeing Hellblade 2 here.
Very interesting. Interested to see what exactly.
I honestly did not expect that.
No, I didn't either, because I thought that game was. I mean, I still think that game's probably further away than people think, but I mean, and it might be one of those. Just like we said, the same thing with Compulsion. It's like Xbox just wants to be able to say, look at all these games. So like we might not see extensive Hellblade 2 gameplay, so I think it could be another kind of more cinematic trailer. I mean, the only thing we've seen is like weird chanting music video type thing. Like we really haven't seen much about the actual game, what it does. Which will be interesting. I mean, it's again kind of weird to me. I love Hellblade, but it's kind of weird to me how much Hellblade's being sold as like a poster game for Xbox, when like Hellblade is not a very mass appeal type game. It's a very like weird artsy thing that like a lot of people would not like, and you know, just it's weird to see like sitting you up there on Xbox posters. It's like, huh.
Hey, Kojima was able to sell people Death Stranding.
That's just, I mean, it's true. He's Kojima. He's a long history.
Okay, Obsidian. I don't know what we'll see from them. They I'm blanking on that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style.
I guess Grounded.
Guess we might see more of that.
Yeah, I would count on seeing that, but that's the only thing I would count on seeing. Like the main Obsidian, like the one that made Outer Worlds, I can't imagine that they're anywhere unless it's like Outer Worlds DLC or something. But I can't imagine that they're.
That could be neat.
I can't imagine they're at the point where they can talk about another game.
The big one, Darby. Playground games. Is it happening?
I think so. I'm like the most hesitant. I think so.
We've been talking about the studios up to this point. Like, okay, they're gonna show stuff because they want to sell their box. They want to show what they're doing. Playground Games working on a Fable game or an RPG in general has been a rumor, so that's something we've known about for literal years at this point. Like. The year we started doing this, 3 years ago, the rumors popped up about a Fable game.
That was like some of our earliest stories on this podcast.
Yeah. So, and Phil pretty much said with the studio that, they are working on an RPG. Like, in 2018, because that's when they were purchased.
Yeah, at E3. He's like, they're using their open world expertise. I think... I do honestly. I mean, I'm so skeptical because the game means so much to me. I'm so worried about it and everything. I do think that like it's gonna happen. I think like the worst case, I think at the very least it's going to be a cinematic thing with no data window or anything, like just a confirmation that it's there, because it's at least been in development long enough for like same thing we were talking about. Compulsion, like Xbox just wants all the articles to be like, and this game, and this game, and this game, and this game. So at the very least, I feel like there has to be a cinematic thing with a Fable 4. That's the low end. I do think there's a possibility we get more than that. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout, like gameplay all over the place and everything like that. Or like, I think at the end, the best we're going to get is like a 2021 or something. Yeah. But I think there's a chance for more than just a teaser trailer.
Potential prediction. As far as like the way this thing will, the conference will be done, I think you start with Halo, Since that's an obvious thing. Show that off. Get people fucking hyped. End with that Fable announcement.
Yeah.
Do with that. I know Fable, we talked about it last week that is Fable a big thing and all that kind of stuff? Like, it's sold well and everything, but people don't see hype for it. But I think with the potential, the way that game is and just the kind of game it is, just having that kind of new thing, especially depending on what they have to show, is a good way to close this thing. A fan favorite and something that could be mass appeal.
Well, it's also interesting. I mean, this conference is one of the most, I'm not saying it's going to be the best. In fact, it might be disappointing, but I think, this is one of the most interesting conferences I think I've ever gone into because it just feels like the stakes are so damn high and it's, so questionable. I think Halo Infinite and Fable both kind of have something to prove. I think both of those have to come in here and be like, hey, you might not have been into these IPs before, but you can't ignore it now. It has to be, Halo just has to be, concept-wise. I think, in a weird way, even though it wouldn't matter as much to me, I think Fable needs to look gorgeous. I think that game needs to be what the fuck? It looks like, Last of Us Part 2, but better. It look like it's going to be a fantasy thing, more colors, but it needs to just punch you in the face with dear God.
Strangely enough, the fact that these people worked on Forza is kind of it should be a good looking game.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there to you. I hope it's not the case, and I don't necessarily think this would be the case, but what if it's a new IP or RPG IP?
Yeah, I would definitely be more bummed because, it probably... I would be interested. I mean, I'm always interested in... RPGs are my favorite genre of game, and I'd be interested to see what it does and everything, but there's a reason why I specifically... It's not just nostalgia. I legitimately think Fable does very unique, interesting things in the RPG space that just other games did not take and run with. And I wish that they had. There was elements of those games that I think RPGs would be in a better place if people had learned lessons from those, or if Fable had been able to keep going. So that's a reason. I mean, they can take departures with it, but there's just there's core things at Fable that I think you would love. I think a bunch of people who know nothing about Fable, I'm y'all would love this if we just could bring it into the modern era and really, and this would be a great stage to get people oh shit, did you see that Fable? Yeah.
Good answer. Nice next one, Rare. This is an interesting one. Because I'm blanking on the name of that game.
Dear game. I'll look it up.
Yeah. The game they announced last year. I imagine we're going to be seeing more. I don't think that's controversial. But I think with Jeff Grubb kind of hinting at that apparently there's another game that they're working on besides that one. And,
Everwild?
Everwild. That's it. Yeah. Might be something more besides Everwild or, more Sea of Thieves content. Of course I want Banjo, just in general. We've talked about it a lot. I think Banjo's going to come back in some way during this generation. I don't necessarily think it's... In fact, I would say it's probably not going to be Rare making that if it did happen at this point.
I don't know how big Rare is. I mean, they're doing Everwild in this. I mean, maybe they're bigger than I think, but I don't know.
Man, I look at that second year that's on that list is the year they were bought. They've almost been under Microsoft for 20 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see more Everwild just in general. That would be awesome. And especially if we get another new game from them, that'd also be hype.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a possibility. I mean, I expect to see Everwild. It's been a long time, but
they're a creative and quirky bunch. So yeah,
I would be very interested to see what they would do in a new IP. But see, they might just be games as a service type support for Sea of Thieves for years to come. Yeah.
The Coalition, I think it's safe to say we're probably not seeing anything from them. Yeah. The Initiative. So this is an interesting one. People have been kind of hyping themselves up for the potential of seeing this game from them. It's a new studio that Microsoft made 2 years ago. It's hard to say what.
Didn't we hear someone recently said they're not going to be there?
Jeff Grubb.
Okay.
So I tend to believe him, so that's why I'm thinking it may not happen. They've only been around for 2 years and all that kind of stuff.
Might not be long
Trying
enough,
to fill about their job positionings last year. May not. But also at the same time, like we've been saying for other ones, they could just throw out a teaser trailer if they're working on the rumor kind of going around is Perfect Dark.
Yeah, the only way the teaser thing like that would work is if it is something like Perfect Dark that people would just be like, oh, people would recognize and know. But judging by like, Crystal Dynamics people and stuff like that, it's probably going to be a pretty big, big game. It'll probably take multiple years. So.
Yep. So take your time. Turn 10 Studios, we're seeing Forza. Come on.
It's a new console, babe.
Yeah.
You got it.
Undead Labs, I don't know. I guess we might see more State of Decay stuff. I don't know. Who knows?
Can't imagine State of Decay 2 did very well. It might be time to just move on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. World's Edge, we're seeing some Age of Empire stuff. I don't know exactly what the state of that, what's coming out and what's not is. Or they announced like a 4 recently or something with the next one. So
there was a new one and the 2 remastered somewhat close together, but I don't think the new one has come out yet. So
we're seeing that stuff.
Yeah, so
safe to say.
New one they've already shown.
Now this is one that could be interesting, Darby. Xbox Game Studios Publishing. That's something that they said is they're gonna do more of, like with Tell Me Why, which I'm going to assume we both agree is probably gonna be there.
Yeah. Probably.
So as far as filling up their lineup during this thing, just some stuff for a bunch of random studios that will be under the Xbox Game Studios banner.
They already they give Moon Studios with Ori, do more like smaller indie studios, pull them in.
Like I was saying with Ray, I expect that's how Banjo will happen if and when it happens.
So, some second party company,
we'll just make Banjo, and they can do that for a bunch other stuff, like for new IPs and all that. So that'll be interesting. That is definitely the wild card as far as this thing goes.
Yeah, you can't really predict that very well.
Yeah, and that's what makes it interesting is that there's a possibility for at least a couple of games under that banner.
I hope they do. I mean, because you even see Sony is starting to now. They're like, we have the Iron Man license, so we're gonna get this, second party studio that we don't own, or let them publish an Iron Man game. Xbox, if Xbox has no interest in using their actual studios they own to make Banjo, like you said, fucking license that out. It's such a as an IP people want. Just get someone else to make that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially since for the most part, all the other studios, we have a pretty good idea of what they're working on. Some of them might have an extra game that we know about, but so yeah. Just based off that, that's a pretty interesting conference lineup potentially.
Ignore the fact that Sanzaru just got bought by Facebook. They're going to get Sanzaru. They're going to make a Banjo game, and at the very end, Banjo's going to be in a boat somewhere, and it's like, oh, what's going to happen to Banjo? And then Sanzaru will never make another Banjo again.
And you're like, Kazooie, we're on a boat.
You're never going to get a resolution.
Okay, so let's see. So one other Microsoft-related thing to talk about, Darby. Microsoft apparently interested in buying WB Interactive.
Woo! And I on this very podcast was like, Sony, Xbox,
I think we
Nintendo,
both were
it's not gonna be them, which it still might not be. But there's no way.
But now it's a possibility for Microsoft.
Or at least they've obviously been looking at it, which I'm kind of surprised that even that much is.
Well, in interviews, Phil said, we're not necessarily done looking at studios. They also mentioned they're gonna look at kind of acquire at a similar pace as what they have been doing. So people are naturally.
This is their previous acquisitions have been cool, but this would be so much more.
It's just the quantity of studios.
It's so much more money.
So, but that could be Phil just saying stuff that doesn't necessarily mean one way or the other unless he's just completely serious about it.
It's super interesting, and I legitimately would be interested to see because just as we talked about before, so a lot of the big name game and a lot of the big studios that would be part of this WB acquisition have IPs that are not leaving Warner Brothers, between the Harry Potter stuff, the Batman stuff, probably even Mortal Kombat. I don't know, Mortal Kombat could go in their own, but there's a bunch of those that studios like Rocksteady that are just known for those DC things, and WB Montreal now making a new Batman thing that might spin off into a new series or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Does Xbox have incentive if they buy them? It's do we want y'all to just keep making Warner Brother licensed games for now until the end of time, or do we want to slowly get y'all off of those to do something that we own? It's I could see them just carry on doing that. I mean, you have Batman, so even if you don't make as much money, it's like, whatever, you have Batman. But I could also see them being like, okay, make this Batman game and then stop, you know?
Yeah, and well, that just completely depends on how the deal works out, because people are still like wondering, so how exactly is it going to work with the like DC properties? Obviously, they're not going to own the DC characters, but how's that, like, if those going to be licensed out, will be a kind of a weird thing of they might own the video game rights to those characters. Probably not that, but
yeah, probably.
Imagine it'd be like
that would be a lot more money.
Sure. Probably like an exclusive licensing deal or something, maybe.
Probably, no matter what, they would be less money than their own IPs. But
so it'd be a very interesting thing, and honestly, it's a weird thing where from the list of potential buyers now, it's the ones that have been listed: Microsoft, EA, Activision, and Take-Two. Just from a game quality standpoint or the vision standpoint, I'd probably prefer Microsoft out of those.
It is, so I mean, even though I have a PC to play all these games or whatever, but like having Mortal Kombat become console exclusive would be a pretty big bummer. And honestly, that's a game I would probably still buy for PS5, because like I want to have that on the couch to play with y'all. I don't want to have that on my PC necessarily. And that, I mean, I get it, but that would be a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, that is obviously the downside if Microsoft were to theoretically buy it and get the Mortal Kombat IP. Though, potentially, I'm 50-50 on if they would do this. With Minecraft, obviously, I know Minecraft is its own beast, obviously, much bigger beast. They let it on every platform still.
Yeah,
I could see them potentially doing that. Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat is potentially big enough, and Microsoft is just becoming a lot more open in general about having their games on Switch and other things like that. They haven't crossed to PS4 yet outside of Minecraft, but it's not out of their own.
If they're gonna make an exception for something like that, I can see it. They're doing
and
it.
It's kind of a similar thing for Minecraft. Minecraft, it was like, oh, Minecraft's already everywhere, so it's like, okay, we're not going to take it away necessarily. They might have a similar thing with.
Well, and it's also with Minecraft in particular. It's like you would lose a lot more money.
Just makes so much more,
a lot more money making it exclusive to your stuff. I guess it would still be on PC, but the Switch and PS4, you still want it on there. Like you make a lot more money on that.
You want it on everything with a screen. You want it on smart.